Here we go. Hello everyone. Welcome to the stream, people. How we doing, everyone? Welcome. Tommo equals late. Oh yes, as always. Fashionably late, I like to think. Hello everyone. Hope you're all well. I'm wearing a Mercedes t-shirt today. It arrived in the post. Look, it's not my fault that McLaren and Mercedes are the only two teams who do decent merchandise, okay? It's not my fault. You can't blame me for that. Welcome to the live stream, people. How are we doing, everyone? You know, you know what team I wish did better merchandise? Because then I'd be all over it. Alfa Romeo. Because you know how much I love that livery. I adore it. But hey, British bias, that's it. No, see, I'm actually wearing this because of Valtteri. So it's actually Finnish bias. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Now I've got what pieces? I've got a Max Verstappen hat actually. Although that was through a Veloce video, and it's actually, you know what's joked, right? Hang on. Let me grab it 2 secs before we start. Right, this hat. This is a cursed image. Mercedes top and Max Verstappen hat, right? This hat, even when I fully undo the back, still too small for my head. Still too small for my huge head. It's been designed for people with smaller heads than me. So yeah. Sag. Big brain problems. Kid size. I mean, maybe Aldas did order me a kid size, but this isn't the first time I've had this problem with a cap, okay? It just about doesn't go on my massive head. It's not a kid size, I've just got a big head. Like all of my caps, I have to have it on like the last thing. Anyway, never mind. Look, it's just how I was born, okay? Large head, okay? I'd love it if, you know what, the AlphaTauri merch as well. I just don't like, you know, they've got the kind of angled design on the AlphaTauri stuff. Because as much as they're obviously a fashion brand, so obviously I've done a video where I've still got my Alpha. Actually, do I? No, I don't have my AlphaTauri shirt anymore. It shrunk a little bit in the wash, so I've put it in a bag to go to charity. Actually, my head is almost as massive as West Ham. I'll take that. Now, thank you everyone for coming. Welcome everyone. Just to kind of ease everyone back in. Okay, we've had a weekend off of Formula One, so I don't want to go too too soon. You know what I'm saying? AlphaTauri merch is the best. Is it though? I don't know. It shrunk / I got fat. I guess that's the or fatter, should I say? I'm definitely bigger than I was before lockdown, but never mind. Tottenham again. It's funny, Kira, because so I can literally see the West Ham Stadium through my window. If that blind was down, I could see it from here. But the Tottenham Stadium's literally like right around the corner. I'm actually closer to Spurs. So when West Ham do smash Spurs at their gaff, then I'll be able to hear the crying Spurs fans from here. It'd be great. Now, welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming. And we're here to talk, of course, today about this weekend's United States Grand Prix, round 17 of 22. That Lanzini goal will forever live in my mind, boy. That will. And thank you, Lloyd, for joining Friends of Tommo, mate. Appreciate it. Lloyd Limon. Limon? I'm not sure. L.I. Winch, good to see you, mate. Welcome. I doxed myself via triangulation. Good thing I live in a block of flats, so, you know, it saves me. Yeah, back in the States for the first time since 2019. And I'll tell you what, since 2019, I would suggest that the sport, if I could speak, the sport is significantly bigger in the States than it was in 2019, in 2021, thanks to Drive to Survive, thanks to just social media in general. Part of the reason I'm moving these streams to 4 p.m. actually is because I think 4 p.m. is kind of the prime time to go live online, because you cover, I'm sure there's some of you here, maybe some early risers from the West Coast of America, because it's about, what time is it in California now? I know you'll tell me in the live chat, but I can't even spell California. There we go. It's 8:05 in the morning. There you go. So you got all the early risers in Cali. Obviously you got the East Coast is fine as well. And then obviously it's 4 p.m, so it's reasonable, and you get it's only the Australians that miss out. So I'm really sorry, Aussies, but if there were more of you, then I'd accommodate you better. So I do apologise. Seattle, exactly. West Coast as well. Chicago, love Chicago. I've only been in America once, and I went to Chicago. But yeah, we're back at COTA. I really like COTA. Give me your out of 10, what you think of COTA as a track. Circuit of the Americas. 11 p.m. in the Philippines. See, look, we're getting the Philippines time in just about. And look, to any late Aussies who like to stay up till 1, 2 in the morning, then you can be here as well. 7s, 8s, mainly 7s, 6s as well. I'd probably say you lot are averaging at about 7, I'd say. Yeah, there's a few 8s. I really like COTA. I really like it. When you look at the track, when you look at the mixture of kind of the straights, it's got the kind of S's. It gives me kind of Silverstone vibes. So when I'm looking at this track, obviously we know Silverstone was quite a bit earlier in the year, but I think we can glean some performance from looking at what happened in Silverstone. It has no character. I don't think I agree with you there, Roller, to be honest. You've got the big, I love the run up to the first corner. I love that first corner. I think that first corner is great. It's got the S's. I think in terms of, considering it's a track that was built from the ground up back in whatever year, well, I don't even know when it was built, but it was just built out of nothing, wasn't it? And now it's a stalwart, mate, on the F1 calendar. Scatter, you're heading out to COTA today. Well, look, 7-hour drive, rah, mad. Well, enjoy it. I'm sure there's some of you here who are going to be watching live from Austin. Maybe next year, or Miami next year. I feel like Miami. But I don't know. No, you know what? If I had to pick between the two to go to next year, I'd probably actually pick Austin. Not going to lie. Track will be slippery. It's been redone. Well, do you remember, was that last time? Yeah, that was 2019, wasn't it? When Seb hit the rumble strip and it just completely broke his rear suspension. That was pretty mad. So hopefully we don't see that again. But yeah. I'd obviously love to go to both, but I think if I had the choice, I'd probably pick COTA, Circuit of the Americas. But talking of 2019, last time we were there, Valtteri Bottas, I can pronounce the T's when I want to, took the win, didn't he? Valtteri Bottas took the dub. Thank you, Akash, for the $36.99 AED. Tommo, I would love to see you and the Veloce team at the US Grand Prix, maybe the Miami track next year, hoping for a landing. I'm assuming you mean Lando or Daniel podium. The first corner is fantastic at this track. Agreed, mate, agreed. Yeah, I mean, I really, really do want to come to the States next year for a race. Me and Hannah might be there for the Canadian Grand Prix next year. Maybe. Might coincide with us getting married, but we'll see. But yeah, I whether it's with Veloce or just on my own or bring Hannah along as well. We'll see. We will see. But yeah, thank you for the dono, mate. Appreciate it. And yeah, Bottas won last time out. This was a race where actually, like, me and Aras were talking about this on Talking Points on Tuesday. It's probably one of Valtteri's strongest performances in a Mercedes, his 2019 drive at Cota. Really good drive. Overtook Lewis towards the end. Lewis, of course, won the world title here in 2019, didn't he? He didn't need to win the race. But as you can see from the image, it was a Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen podium. Is one of them, wasn't it? Thank you, Senna, for the 179 podium predictions for Austin, Texas. I'll get into it, mate. Don't worry, we're on the cusp of that. But yeah, thank you very much for the 179. This was a Hambot Verbot Ham, Hambot, whatever. It was one of them, wasn't it? This was one of those races that added to that, the legacy of the Hambot Ver podium. It was Botham Ver this time out. And the thing is, right, there's been a lot of talk, before we get into my predictions, there's been a lot of talk about, you know, this being a Mercedes track, Mercedes easy dub. Max has never won here. These are facts, okay? Max has been P2. He has been P3. He was P3 in 2019. He was P2 in 2018. Recovered from 15th, I think, in quali. I think he finished quali 15th. He had some problem. I can't remember what it was. I'm pretty sure he recovered from 15th. Does anyone remember? I'm sure one of you remembers better than I do. I'm sorry, I don't remember everything about F1 ever. But I don't agree. Just because Max has always been close. He's never been like a mile off. Was it 16th to 4th? Oh, was this? Oh, of course, because 2018 he got past Kimi, didn't he? And he was off track. And so then I forgot about that, man. That was 2018 when, if you haven't seen it, look it up. After the 2018 US Grand Prix, Max thought he'd finished third because he passed Kimi on like the final lap. And then he did pass Kimi off track. It was a penalty. Like, I'm sorry, it was. He was all four wheels off the track when he made the pass. Was that 2017? Oh, for crying out loud, man. I'm getting caught up, man. What happened in 2018? I can't even remember. But yeah, 2017. Thank you, chat. That was when that happened. The cool down room. I missed the cool down room. I missed. That was such a nice little insight into the post race because I'm sure the drivers preferred it as well because they just got left alone for a little bit. Kimi won in 2018, didn't he? I'm an idiot. Ignore me. That COVID has done a madness to my brain. What I'm saying, whatever I'm saying, okay, I can just chat a load of nonsense, but at the end of the day, Max has always been up there. He's always been up there. And given the relative performance increase for the Red Bull relative to everyone, but relative to Mercedes, am I going for a Mercedes win? No, I'm not. I'm saying Max Verstappen takes the race win. I'm saying Ferrari take my team of the weekend. Charles Leclerc takes driver of the weekend. And Marzipan takes struggle of the weekend. This is my prediction. More Mazepin hate. I will explain my choice. Floyd Respector. I know you from Twitter. Right, so I'm going Max to win. Again, I think Max has always been close. If you watched my video yesterday, you'll know that I have said that I think Max will get the dub against Lewis. He'll come out ahead of Lewis in this race. And I think he'll win the race. I think this track suits... Again, I see similarities to Silverstone. For me, I feel like this track, in terms of the amount of slow speed, medium speed, high speed, I'm looking at Silverstone similarly. Max was very, very good at Silverstone. He had the pace to win that race quite comfortably. We know what happened. And in the past, he's always come close. Yes, he's not won before, but he's always come close. He's come third, he's come second. Yeah, I think Max Verstappen will win the US Grand Prix. I put Charles as my driver of the weekend. Again, he was very strong at Silverstone. That Ferrari is looking good. And I think combined with Carlos doing a good job, which I think, again, Carlos is doing a much better job. They're in the fight with McLaren. Carlos is doing a better job than Daniel. Lando's really doing a better job than Charles. But all in all, I think the Ferrari team is stronger as a pairing right now. So I'm saying Ferrari team of the weekend. I think they'll both have a decent race. I think Charles could sneak onto the podium. It depends, because obviously Bottas is driving really well at the minute. Since his departure from Mercedes was announced, he's been driving really well. So maybe Bottas will be up there above Hamilton. But you got to think that at this stage, obviously, if Bottas is ahead of Hamilton, this is what is in Lewis's favour, isn't it? Because you know that on pace, on combined quali and race pace, Bottas can be up there more consistently than Perez can, because Perez is much further off Max in quali than Bottas is off Lewis. I'd say race pace wise, there's probably not much in it between Bottas and Perez, but I think race craft wise, Perez right now is definitely if you're coming up behind Bottas wanting to make the overtake, or Perez, I'd choose Bottas. Not that I'd be able to overtake anyone, because I'm not a racing driver, obviously. But yeah, I think from a team point of view, Hamilton's going to have more support from Bottas than Max will from Sergio. You know what I mean? Thank you, Jose, for the $5. Good morning from LA. Jose, you're the exact kind of person. You're exactly why I do this live stream a bit later, so that you can watch along as well. So welcome, mate. Thank you very much. Nice quad bike, mate. Decent. And thank you, Nice Person, for joining Friends of Tommo. Great name. Love that. So yeah, because of that, obviously that stands in Hamilton's favour ultimately, because they can play the team game a little bit more. But yeah, Bottas is looking on fire at the minute. And then the reason I put Mazepin in struggle, I do think Mick is showing signs of improvement more than Nikita is. Mick was already ahead of Nikita at the start of this year. And you look at Mick got into Q2 and actually raced in Q2. He's got to Q2 twice, but the first time, because he crashed, he couldn't even race in it. Or try and qualify in it, should I say. And I'm not seeing any signs of improvement from Nikita. I'm sorry, I'm not. He was miles off Mick. Even though Mick got punted by Alonso, went right behind Nikita. He managed to get past Nikita and still finish 30 seconds up the road. And also it's Haas in the States with the Russian flag pass. I don't know. It's just a bit of it's a sad thing, isn't it? Because when Haas joined F1, Haas should be the team that, the American fan base can feel that they can really get behind. I'm sure a lot of you watching have been, Americans watching have been very disappointed that Haas haven't really, even when they were right, they never really seem to own their American. Maybe it's just me wanting, I've watched too many American movies and I want the red, white and blue over the car and all that, but come on, surely that's what I want to see. But yeah, I'm not seeing any signs of improvement from Mazepin, so he's going to be my struggle. Thank you, Atman, for the $4.99. You are a king. I'm assuming that was targeted at Minton, who is currently asleep over there. If you stay till the end of the stream, I'll show you Minton. Okay, that's my way of psychologically manipulating you all to stay on the stream. I'll just, dangle the Minton carrot. But yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And thank you, Big Kid, for the $5. San Diego, California here. There you go, see? Perfect. It's my first full season watching, so excited for Cota and Mexico. You picked a very good time to jump in, because this has been one of the most competitive seasons, one of the most enjoyable, exciting seasons for my lifetime watching. Again, for me, F1, it's sad to say, but I when I went to university in 2011, I kind of stopped watching F1 and didn't start until 2016, 17. That's when I first, when I started to really get back into it. I always kind of followed it, just, I'll check what happened. Max won. Lewis won. Rosberg won. I watched the finale when Rosberg won in 2016. I watched most of that final races, but I didn't follow it avidly for those years because I was too busy just being a twat at university. But yeah, I think now is the most competitive title fight we've seen since 2016. And overall, the season feels like, maybe it's recency bias, but it just feels like the whole season. You've got the Ferrari McLaren battle. You've got the Alpine Aston Martin AlphaTauri battle. You've got, okay, that's about it. But the Drivers' Championship's looking really close throughout. It's been good entertainment. Good entertainment. Thank you, Marek, for joining Friends of Tommo as well. Appreciate it. And thank you, Nej Paradis for the 10 euros. I do apologise, mate. I'm so sorry. King Latifi top 8. Would love to see it. Would love to see Williams up in the points again. Again, there's nothing I love more than a phoenix from the ashes. This is why, like, right now, I feel like, because Seb kind of at Ferrari kind of hit rock bottom, you felt, and to see Seb in an Aston Martin next year challenging for a world title, I would love to see that. I'd be so happy to see that, because it's like he peaked and then he went down and then rising up again. That's what I want. It's the rise up again that I love. I'm a sucker for it. What can I say? Thank you, the Swordfish Studios, for the $5 as well. I'll be going to quali in the race in Austin. It's my first time in person and I'm beyond excited, mate. I'm very jealous. Well, enjoy it. Have fun. Saturday and Sunday, hopefully the race is a banger. Don't jinx it. I'm not jinxing it. I'm just speaking my truth. I'm just speaking my truth. But that would be a vibe, wouldn't it? A green Sebastian Vettel winning the 2022 world title. That'd be phenomenal to see. I'd love it. But anyway, right. So they're my race predictions. Again, Verstappen win, Ferrari team of the weekend, Charles driver of the weekend, Mazepin struggle. What about you lot? I put out the call on. Actually, I forgot to put it on YouTube. Sorry to everyone who doesn't follow me on Twitter. You should follow me on Twitter if you don't, at @TomMcCluskey_. But I did forget to put it on my community tab. I do apologise. But yeah. Here's what you lot on Twitter, anyway. Twitter thought. But completely different to me. Completely different. 46% of you think Lewis is going to win. 32% Verstappen. 7% by. What a sad. I feel for Valtteri. Only 7% of people think he's going to win, even though he won last time. That is quite sad. I mean, I also didn't put him to win. I'm just saying. I'm going to move that away from my mouth while I drink my drink. Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised about these. I was very surprised about these. 28%, I mean, Mercedes team of the weekend, fair enough, 28%. McLaren, 26, okay. Ferrari, 18, okay, fine. Ricardo driver of the weekend, was not expecting that. 18% of the vote, 15% Norris, 12% Gasly. Yeah, I was a bit surprised about that. And then 22% Perez, struggle of the weekend. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Perez hasn't been performing to the level of Max, but then who has? I mean, I don't know. It's a weird one. Like, I'm surprised people have said Perez, because I think Perez will be. I think Red Bull will do well here. I think this will be a good track for Red Bull. I don't think they'll be. Will they be quicker than Mercedes? I don't think they'll be far off. If they are slower, I don't think they'll be far off. I don't think this is going to be a massive one. So I'm surprised people put him in struggle. 22% as well. Sonoda 15. Fair enough. I just really want Yuki to have a good weekend. Just please have a good weekend, Yuki. Please. Please. I desperately want him to have a good weekend. And then 9% have said Lance Stroll. Sir Lancelot. Which... we'll see. But yeah, I'm not sure about these, but it's what the majority of you on Twitter seem to think anyway. So there you go. Thank you, Joseph, for the $4.99, mate. Appreciate it. Not to pull the subject back, But as an American, I definitely had higher hopes for Haas. Exactly. Still looking forward to seeing my first race live this weekend, mate. Joseph, I hope you enjoy it, buddy. And yeah, no, you're not the only. I think we all hoped for more from Haas. Given the drop off was pretty significant. We've got to remember that in their like first full, wasn't it in 20 whatever year it was where they finished like P5 in the constructors? I can't even remember what year, but they were like a solid, decent midfield team for a reasonable amount of time, and then it just fell away. Yeah, they were faster than McLaren. Most people were faster than McLaren at one stage, and you look where they are now relative. So, but yeah, if Andretti do buy part of Sauber, become the Andretti Sauber Formula One team, which I think has a nice ring to it, the name. I think I could see, right? I feel like going to Kota, a true American team, you'd have Haas flags all over the place, but I don't feel that. Whereas like, if it's Andretti, I could picture the stands being filled with, because Andretti's such a name. It's a name in F1, because obviously Mario won in 78, wasn't it? He won the world title. But also, it's a huge name in the States in motorsport, you know? It's the perfect balance, but there you go. Thank you, Atman, as well, for the $9.99. Started watching in 2011, supporting Nando because of Ferrari. Now, waiting for Charles. Charles' his chance, and been watching ever since. It's so polarizing with social media these days and the newer fan opinions. The thing is as well, like, people on social media a lot of people on social media aren't very good at hearing other people's opinions and then just accepting that it's just another perspective and not assuming like malice. Like I was having a debate with someone on Twitter who called me fake, and I was like, why am I fake? And he was like, well, you said that Daniel Ricciardo's like, you alluded that Daniel Ricciardo's rubbish. And I was like, well, I love Daniel, but he's not been good enough this year. So what? I'm just going to blindly say he's doing great because I like him. And he was saying about like Lance Stroll, that I used to not like Lance Stroll and now I seem to love him. Well, first of all, like, I don't know where you got that I love Lance Stroll from. But secondly, well, yeah, I didn't feel anything towards Lance Stroll. I just thought he was another paid driver for the first couple of years he was in. But we see more of the drivers through all the content they put out. And actually, whenever Lance Stroll's on something, he's actually one of the funniest ones, I think. I think he's jokes, actually, from what I've seen. So my opinion of him is I've warmed to him. The same with Latifi. I've warmed to Latifi a lot because you see a lot more of him and he actually seems like a laugh. And I've warmed to Ocon a hell of a lot. I didn't used to... When he was back at his Force India days, I didn't support him at all. He was just another driver to me. But actually, I actually really like the guy. But yeah, thank you, Atman. I do appreciate it. And Fernando smashing it this year. What can I say? Thank you, Abby, as well, for the $5. Have you seen Lance's helmet design for this weekend? One of my favourites I've ever seen. Please give mint and pats for me. I will do, don't you worry, Abby. I've seen like a behind-the-scenes view of his helmet for this weekend. It's got like blue bits on it and like the globe and like the earth and that. I've got, yeah, it's kind of a... I haven't seen the finished thing though. I don't know what the finished article looks like, so I'll have to check that out. I won't glug down the mic, don't worry. I know that bothers some people. But yeah, and that's fine. But that's what, like say I was using Twitter back in the Force India days of Ocon, and I tweeted like he had a bad race, and I'd probably been like, oh, Ocon had a rubbish race today. And then you get me like celebrating his win at Hungary like a madman. People would be like, oh, you're so fake. It was like, well, that was like 4 years ago, and like my opinion of someone can change over 4 years. You know what I mean? But anyway, whatever. But yeah, this is what you lot think in terms of predictions. Let's go through the drivers. Also, before we carry on, this t-shirt, right? This Mercedes t-shirt, this came in the post today, right? Hence why there's like creases in it, because I just got it out of the packet, right? Looking at this t-shirt, do you think it's a thick t-shirt or a thin t-shirt? What do you think? looking at the white on it, right? And looking at where like Lewis wears it, we're getting a combination. Yeah. Okay, so I assumed, because again I've obviously seen like Lewis and Valtteri wearing it, right? I assumed these t-shirts were quite thick, and this obviously this neckline where it's like elasticated, you assume this is quite thick, and this is thick. But the actual t-shirt itself is well thin, which I was surprised about. But what I hate about thin white t-shirts is that they go a bit translucent. Which means like you can see they're a bit see-through, which obviously I don't vibe with. But actually, even though it's really thin, the material's actually really good. It's really good quality and it's not translucent at all. I just thought I should convey that feedback, because F1 Fanatics have got like 30% off at the minute, so I got this. I wasn't paid to say that. I just went on the website and I was like, oh, 30% off. So I thought I wanted this t-shirt for a while, but I wasn't paying full price. This guy does not pay full price for anything. Okay, I am a stingy bastard. But yeah. Anyway, thank you, Nedge, again for another $5 euros. Sorry, appreciate it. Do you think Gunter should stay with Haas? I think he's just dragging them down. Skip trying my name. Sorry, mate. You should have put that at the start. Gunter Steiner. Yeah, I don't know. The fact that you've now got, I know you dealt what you dealt, right? He doesn't necessarily make the driver choices, but he's not managed the Magnussen-Grosjean relationship well. He's not managed the Schumacher-Mazepin relationship very well, and that's a huge part of the job. I find it very difficult to say much good about Gunter, except from the start of his tenure at Haas, because the start was very impressive. The fact that he just came in and they were in the midfield decent almost straight away, very impressive. But recently, over these last few years, it's very difficult for me to when I'm trying to justify whether I think someone's good or bad. Like I need something. I need some evidence to be like pro, and the only evidence I've seen about Gunter over the last few years has been negative evidence about him not doing a good job. So, you know what I mean? I don't feel massively confident. Thank you, Bailey, for the $4.99 as well. Do you think that the North American drivers will perform better than the European drivers because of the time zone changes? No, I don't think it. I mean, a lot of these drivers live in Monaco anyway, didn't they? So I wouldn't think that's. It's not like they're all living in the States. So I wouldn't imagine that'd have much of a difference, to be honest, Bailey. But it's a fair point, though. It's a fair point. Gunter is just there for the Netflix. Look, I mean, his character comes across the way it does. I get it, it's good telly. Like, I find it entertaining. I enjoy Drive to Survive for what it is. Okay, I know they don't always, 100% follow the. They create narratives. I don't think they create narratives. They definitely over exaggerate narratives for sure. But it's not. If I'm looking for a piece of F1 content that's like super detailed, like super real and raw, I don't expect that from Drive to Survive. So I'm not disappointed when that's not what I get, and I still think it gives enough of that personally. Because again, the job of it is to be an entertainment piece to encourage new fans in, ultimately, and it's doing a really good job of it. So I can't be too critical of it. I'm just gonna have another drink. Yum. Thank you, JD Muesli, as well, for the $5. Almost missed your dono there, mate. Appreciate it. I think Danny Rick does anything special this weekend. I mean, 16% of you think he's going to do something special this weekend, which... Oh, sorry, 18%. I can't read. I hope so. And he's going to be driving Dale Earnhardt's car. He is. Does anyone remember that video when Daniel joined McLaren and Zach was like, gave him that little toy car? And it was Dale Earnhardt's old number 3 stock car, wasn't it? And he was like, I can't even remember... Well, obviously Daniel's won a race, so he's done everything he needs to justify getting a drive in it anyway. But yeah, Daniel loves the States, and maybe that's why people are expecting him to have a good time. You know, maybe that's why people, because it's just, you know, it's a good vibe, innit? It's a good vibe. He enjoys it there. But anyway, was it just a podium? Well, he should get 2 drives in it then, shouldn't he? Right. Okay. Let's quickly now talk about everyone. Have a little chat about everyone. In reverse, Tommo. I feel like I'm going to burp, but I don't want to burp down the microphone because that's pretty grim. Lovely. Daniel is basically part American. That is so true. And yes, Nico Hulkenberg is trying out the McLaren IndyCar, isn't he? That'd be fun. I did get the picks right. To be fair, I only got these right, Michael, because I never have to change these because these always stay the same because they're in no particular order. So I don't have to worry. Right, so Lewis Hamilton. Now, obviously, there's nothing to suggest that you won't have a good weekend this weekend. He's won at COTA before. He P2 last time, just behind his teammate. Again, if you've watched the video I put out yesterday, it's done really well, so I'm assuming a lot of you have. Thank you to everyone who has. I do appreciate it. I've given this one to Max over Lewis, though, mainly because Red Bull have never been that far off, but all things suggest that Lewis will have a good time. And ultimately, in this stage, I agree that Max looks very calm and very measured, and I've been very impressed with how he's handled most of this season, given that he's in a proper title scrap for the first time in his career. But ultimately, Lewis has been here 7 times before, and I do think that is going to help in some way. That experience is going to help. But we'll see. And again, Valtteri, one last time out, is driving with a freedom that we haven't, seen enough this year. Again, since his multi-year Alfa Romeo deal was announced, he's been driving very, very well. Got more points than Lewis and Max. Credit where credit is due to Valtteri, and hopefully for not just Mercedes but for Lewis, Valtteri can pick it up, because if Valtteri's driving well, not only is that making their constructors title fight more promising, but also he's potentially taking points away from Max, which is exactly what Lewis needs if he wants to win the title. Max obviously needs Perez to take points off of Lewis, which I think is less likely to happen based on pure qualifying plus race pace. But we'll see. And again, Perez, a lot of people don't think Perez is going to have a good weekend. I disagree. I think Red Bull are going to have a good weekend generally. Wouldn't be surprised if Perez at least top 5, which isn't great, but we'll see. Charles, I've already said driver of the weekend for me. I think Charles is going to have a really good weekend. He's going to do a decent job. I think Ferrari overall, again, that combination, if Ferrari can give them two a good car next year, they're on it. Because Carlos Sainz, a lot of people think he's very underrated. And again, we all know about that from my video. When someone refers to himself, does he just say Omo? Well, no, I always pronounce the T's at the start of a word. Do I? I don't just say, if I say time, I say time. I don't say I'm. It's when it's in the middle of the word that I struggle more. But yeah, Ferrari boys are looking good. Carlos is looking happy. Toyota. It's Toyota. I don't say Toyota. Hull is a difficult word to say. Hull. I just want to say but it's a hull, isn't it? But yeah, decent. McLaren, again, you're expecting big things from McLaren. I'm not, to be honest. I'm not expecting this to be a great weekend for McLaren. I think Ferrari are going to be on top. This is where now, obviously, it's the other way around, and McLaren smash up Ferrari, of course. But yeah, I think McLaren aren't going to have the best weekend. I need to look at my fantasy league, actually. I almost forgot about that. I'll look at this after this. Norris and Ricciardo, I'm not expecting huge things. I think, Norris in the points, but I think Daniel, I'm not expecting much, but I'll be happy to be surprised. will be happy to be surprised, because most people think they're going to have a good weekend, it seems. Yeah, this is where Ricciardo wins, Norris wins, not Mazepin, obviously. Aston Martin, Vettel, Stroll. Stroll had a good weekend last race, didn't he? I thought he had a decent one. I thought he had a decent race, and Seb's wasn't great. It's just a bit of a frustrating season, isn't it, for Aston Martin fans? Stroll's been more consistently in the points, but when Vettel's got in the points, he's done a better job and finished higher. So he's got more points. Yeah, I think maybe they might get on. So there's a flyer going around. They might get on the cusp of the points, but I'm not expecting much more than that from the Aston boys, to be honest. Whereas Alpine, I've got to be honest, Ocon's disappointed me, not gonna lie. He had a really good start to the year, had that purple patch, but obviously you could put a lot of that down to the chassis, because it seemed when they changed the chassis, he picked up pretty much straight away. Obviously got that race win, but since then Alonso's been well on top of him. Alonso's been well on for the second half of the year, from arguably more than, I reckon, for the first 5-6 races, Ocon was comfortably on top, and then it seems to have flipped, and that's credit to Alonso. I know Ocon's been blaming his car a lot, which, I mean, his car seemed to be at fault for those 4 dodgy races where, you know, they changed the chassis and his performance picked up straight away, so maybe it is a problem with the car. But at the same time, you can't, it's not the best look for Esteban at the minute. You know, I love him, but I'm not gonna just blindly be like, oh, Esteban's great because I like him. Alonso's been well on top, and again, Alonso's just impressed me so much this year. I put him 3rd in my mid-season report video, and people were very triggered by that, especially because I said he was going to have a terrible, well, I didn't say he was going to have a terrible year, I said he was going to have a disappointing year relative to expectation, because my expectations were very low going into this year. But he just, when you look at how, when like Schumacher came back in, when Kimi came back even after his little break, I think the level that Fernando's operating at is honestly so impressive to me, given the context. 2 years out, 40 years of age, decent. And Ocon's got to step up. He's got to step up, because ultimately, as good as Fernando is, you know, in terms of action, again, raw pace, I'll always say this, you know, for me, probably top 10 of all time is in there, 100% Fernando for me. But he's also 40, and Ocon, if he wants, he's got that contract from Alpine, which does give him security, but at the same time, he's got to push on. But Ocon's career, isn't it? It's been a weird one, because when he was at Force India, actually, he pushed Perez really hard. And like, I rate Perez. I know his rating's fallen off a little bit for people because of this year, but if you take away this year, which I think again is a bit of an anomaly, if you ask me, I think Perez is up there. Ocon pushed him hard. Ocon's got his win this year. He was better than Fernando at the start of the year, but there's the consistency that he's missing, and Fernando's, again, Ocon needs a couple races here in a row, I think, where he needs to be beating Fernando in quali and in race to really push, you know. But people can be very, because I remember when, again, after the first 6 races, people were like, oh, Ocon should go to Mercedes instead of Russell, and I was like, whoa, hang on a second, hang on. And then he had an absolute shocker, like 4 races in a row, so there you go. Anyway, Yuki Gasly. Again, I'm praying for a Yuki Tsunoda dub. Yuki, please. I feel really sorry for him. Like, it must be tough. It must be tough. Like, it's we know he's kind of made consecutive steps up from F4 to F3 to F2 to F1. He was put under a lot of expectation. I expected a lot of him going into going into this season. I expected a lot of Yuki, and he hasn't delivered to the standards that I was hoping. Gasly has also been driving like a man possessed, which hasn't helped. It's kind of doubled down on Yuki's problems, isn't it? And you know how much I rate Gasly. You know full well how much I rate Pierre Gasly. So that's not helped Yuki in any way, shape or form. The raw pace is there. It's the other things. I was listening to the race put out a video. I think it was earlier today. I was watching it earlier, and they made some really good points just about how kind of Yuki, the raw pace has been proven, but in terms of the other factors, that the more kind of the mental game around it, that's maybe where he's fallen a bit behind. They've moved him to Faenza. I hope that next year is the year for him. You know, again, new cars for everyone, new regulations, hopefully a big shake-up, and hopefully Yuki Tsunoda moves in a positive direction. And Pierre Gasly, these last couple of races haven't been great, not going to lie. That's not always been through his own fault. But I think he's lost a little bit of momentum, but overall he's still been very, very good. But yeah, I think there is more to come from Pierre still this year, for sure. Could Oscar Piastri replace Ocon at Alpine? No, I mean, they're not going to replace Ocon now that we've just announced. They just gave him a contract, and he's not been driving badly. It's just relative. Like now that Fernando's kind of seems to have cracked on, got a hang of that seat. We've seen his wheel to wheel, not just against his teammate, but his passes against other drivers, his defence against Hamilton. It's very good, very good. Oh yeah, I know he got P6 last race. I'm just saying, like, the last kind of few, they haven't been crept a little bit, you know. But anyway, Giovinazzi Raikkonen. I'm sorry, Giovinazzi's not done enough. I don't think to prove that he is going to keep that seat next year. I don't think he's done enough. And we know Kimi's retiring. Who bloody knows? I mean, Piastri deserves a seat more than anyone, I think. But not much more to say. Bottas coming in obviously believes in the dream. Could be an Andretti Sauber dream, maybe. That'd be interesting. Ignoring team orders shows Gio knows he doesn't have a seat. That is also a good point. Yeah, Gio had that was a big L last week, because Kimi, even though like qualifying it's Giovinazzi all the way, in race trim Gio's not been good enough. Gio's good over a lap, but in race trim not good enough. Even in Gio's first season against Kimi, his debut season in Formula 1, he beat Kimi 9 times in quali out of 20 races, which is actually pretty good for a junior coming in. But the race just ain't good enough. Just ain't been good enough. Look, I think, again, I know a few of you are mentioning Ocon in the live chat. Hang on, let me just... Because I feel that Alpine, right, is probably the... In terms of where that Alpine pace is, right? Hang on. Right, it's slower than the Mercedes, the Red Bull, the McLaren, the Ferrari, and I'd say the AlphaTauri as well. I'd say it's at best the 6th quickest car. Where would you put it? Where would you put the Alpine, chat? I'm saying 6th. I'm saying 6th best car. Where would you say? 5th, 6th, 5th, 6th, 5th. I think 7th, 5th, 6th. Because I feel like, right, when you look at, again, this is why it's difficult, because I think Gasly's driving at a level higher than, I think Alonso's driving at a really good level. I don't think he's driving, I think Gasly's doing a better job than Alonso, but like, there's not much in it, like, because I think 6th best car, right? So the expectation for those drivers being in the 6th best car, therefore, should be what a good day is like P7, 8. A bad day is out the points. And when we look at, so let me look at the last kind of few races. So Zandvoort, Fernando was 6th, Ocon 9th. Italy, Fernando 8th, Ocon 10th. Russia, 6th, 14th. Turkey, 16th, 10th. So again, these I mean, Ocon's been in the points, like, don't give, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Of the last 7 races, Ocon's been in the points 6 times, which in isolation is impressive, okay? But then, and then you can say the last 6 races, well, Fernando's only been in the points for last 7 races 5 times. But then Alonso's been in the points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Of the last 11 races, he's been in the points 9 times. Whereas Ocon had that stinker, that absolute. To be fair, you know what I mean? Like, because since Ocon sorted his chassis out, he's only been out of the points once. Okay, in the 6th best car. And if you get rid of that little purple dodgy chassis patch, then it's been all right. You know what I mean? I think we can be quick to jump to conclusions, but at the same time, I think Ocon's been good. Fernando's been very good. I think it's one of them. That's the way I see it. They've both been minimum good. Alonso's just been a little bit better. But yeah. Anyway. Williams, Russell, Latifi. I mean, points-wise, what? So 23 points Williams are on. Alpha are on just 7. So, I mean, Williams are only 38 points off of Aston Martin. I say only. That's like a race win and a P3. Just under that. Which is obviously a lot. But at the same time, they're still, what's the maths? 14 points, no, 16 points ahead of Alfa Romeo. So, but again, when we're judging, Andrew, when we're judging, like, is the Williams quicker than, okay, I'll do another little poll. I ain't done a poll in a while. Hang on a second. Right, so if I open this up, that, and then I create a poll. Which car is quicker, Alpha or Williams? Come on then, let's be having you. Because when we answer this question, you can't just look at the cars in isolation. You have to look at the drivers who are driving the cars and then, oh, well, I really rate Russell, or I don't rate Russell, or I really rate Latifi, or I don't rate Latifi. I really rate Raikkonen, don't rate blah, 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 blah. You have to consider all of these factors when you're trying to answer this question. Now, for me, Russell is driving at a better level than both the Alpha drivers, and Latifi is driving at a better level than, in race, is driving at a better level than Giovinazzi, I think. But I don't know. I don't know. I can't back that up with facts. That's just what I think. I just dropped the thing on the floor. Sorry, lens cap. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean? It is tricky to say. It is very difficult to say. Well, 63% of you are saying Williams, but 37% of you think. So most of you think the Williams is quicker now. But again, is that just because George is driving at a much better level, and Latifi's driving at a good level now? We will never know for sure. My eye's gone all red. because obviously Williams have got the Mercedes power, but then their car was like the draggiest car in the world for a long time. But anyway, who knows? And then Haas, again, I think Mick's going to have a good weekend. He's showing signs of improvement. Mazepin, for me, I mean, is he spinning less? He's spinning in practice, but I don't like holding drivers against practice spins, because that is kind of the point of practice, to push the limit. So, but yeah, I'm not really seeing much improvement from Mazepin. So, is what it is, isn't it? I'm sure he has improved, of course. Like, you're going to be better, 17 races in than you were on the first race, but well, you should be anyway. Although Tsunoda was like P9 in his first race at Bahrain, and I was like, oh my god, he's going to be so good. And then, yeah. All right, cool. Well, I think we're done, to be honest, people. If you've got any more questions, just stick them in the live chat and I'll do my best to answer. Thank you to everyone who is watching and doesn't go in the live chat. I watch loads of live streams on YouTube where I don't interact in the live chat. So I see you. And I don't see you in chat, but I see you. I appreciate you. I will show you Minton, don't you worry. But you got to stay till the very end. Okay? The very end. I'm buzzing to watch Kota. I enjoy Kota. Is it midnight in Australia? See? This time, 4 p.m. works for literally everyone. Is it really midnight in Australia? Time in Melbourne. No, it's like 3 in the morning. Are you in Perth then? You must be in Perth. What's the time in Perth? Yeah, it's midnight in Perth. There you go. Picking up my Western Australians. 3 a.m. in Manila. There you go. So, never mind. But yeah, I think 4 p.m. is the best time. I'm sorry to all my Sydney, Brisbane, Melbournes, Newcastles, Cairns, all you lot. I'm sorry. Any DNFs? I don't know. Anything can happen with DNFs. It's hard to say. 5 p.m. in Norwich. Thank you, Will. I didn't know that. No idea. If Piastri doesn't make it into F1, where do you think he would go? Well, look, that's the thing. Obviously, it sucks for Oscar Piastri that he's probably not going to be getting a seat. But I don't think it's a bad thing for a young racing driver to dabble in other categories, and maybe he can try a bit of IndyCar, a bit of Super Formula, a bit of DTM, because obviously Lawson isn't going back after the debacle of Norris Ring. So I think as long as he's keeping racing, keeping fresh. This is what I was going to talk about as well, actually. I'll just go onto my main screen. You don't need to see that anymore. Earlier this week, for a upcoming video, you might have seen on, if you follow Aldas or Hayden on Instagram, we went up to a proper simulator place in the Midlands and tried out their actual simulator that they have all the Alpine drivers use. So Joe, Lundgaard, Piastri, they all go there quite regular to use their simulator. So we used the same simulator. I was chatting to the guy about kind of the guy was like showing us around and sorting us out to get on it. And he was saying like the setup of a car in Formula 2, let alone Formula 1, actually there's like way, because the Formula 3 cars, where the aero is very simple on them, is even more simple than the F2 cars in terms of the things you can change. So that is more of a spec series, but it's still not 100%, obviously, because everyone's got different setups. But F2 is less of a... And he was saying about how, like, you look at Red Bull, for example, the way that car is set up for Max's style of driving. And he was saying, like, you look at how Sergio's jumped in with all his experience and struggled. But actually, like, there's so much nuance just in Formula 2, let alone in Formula 1 in terms of setup. It is like mind-bogglingly complicated. Mind-bogglingly complicated, which is sad. But the new regulations should hopefully tighten things up a bit. I'm going to end the poll, by the way. Do you think Seb can really win a world championship in 2022? I think so. Love from India. Well, again, I think we know, like, Seb, prime, ultimate, optimum, comfortable Seb is one of the greatest to ever do it. I've always said that. You can't doubt the success he had over those 4 years in a car that he was super hooked up in, super happy with. But when the car hasn't quite been there, he's struggled to bring out the best of it and deal with a not optimal package like a driver like Carlos Sainz has proven he can do. Like I think Lewis has proven he can do over his career. Again, you look at the early career, when he first moved to Mercedes, everyone was like, you're moving from, it's like the famous line, going from Man United to West Ham. I was like, well, I'd take 7 Premier Leagues in a row, Jeremy. I'd love that. Alonso's prime example of being able to extract everything from anything. And I think that is a trait that I consider super important when we're talking about like the GOAT debate and all that. And that's why I rate Alonso above Seb, because I think that he's been able to extract more from more. Whereas I would argue that Seb's absolute prime and is probably a bit higher than Alonso's absolute prime, but Alonso can extract it from more different hardware. That's the way I see it. But who knows? But yeah, it's just interesting. There's a lot of there's so many variables that none of us look. I'm just ultimately, right, I know this is my job now, but like, and I absolutely love what I do, and you lot allow me to do it. But I'm just another fan. Okay, I've just got I have no more of a real insight into the world of what actually goes on behind the scenes than any of you do. You know what I mean? But yeah, wild pick for next year. I think Ferrari are going to be, if I had to put my money on it now, and I had to put my money on it now, I think Constructors World title for next year, I'd say Ferrari. That's what I think. Raquel, you can spam that all you like, but it doesn't mean it's true. And define what does that mean? Hamilton is the worst. What the worst ever? What, he's worse than me? I mean, I struggle to believe that's true. How many championships do you think Lando was? The problem is there's so many factors that goes into, because it's the whole like driver versus car debate. Okay, so obviously if you put Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen in the Haas, they would still be in qualifying at least, like going out in Q1 most of the time. Okay, that's just true. They just would. The performance ceiling for that car isn't high enough that they wouldn't be able to get out of, like, that they would be doing a better job than Mick and Nikita, but not that much better. But at the same time, you look at how kind of Michael Schumacher went into that Ferrari team and helped. There's no coincidence that when he went into that team, things started to change and the team came out as this dominant force, right? Lewis did that to less of an extent, I'd say, at Mercedes, because Mercedes, the foundations were already there, more so than I think than at Ferrari. But at the same time, at Ferrari, when Schumacher joined, well, Ross Brawn was there and Jean Todt were there, and these were the people who, you know, it wasn't just Michael Schumacher who did that, but he was a huge component of that, and the driver can make a world of like difference. You hear this loads about how like the driver making an effort with the team just on a human basis can make a massive difference. Toto more than Hamilton? I mean, again, it's difficult to say. Yes, Toto has, you know, he's got more control over. Well, yeah, he's ultimately, his role is to operate that team. But at the same time, you got to think from the Mercedes, you know, personnel point of view. A driver with the, you know, the ambition, the success that Lewis had, the determination to come into that team is going to have a positive influence. You know, Mercedes aren't going to turn into this, you know, multiple world title winning team if you've got a driver coming in who's like super, you know, toxic and isn't a team player and in it for themselves, and that's not going to happen. So do you actually believe Vettel Prime is better than Alonso Prime, or do you just say that so that Seb don't get you on your back? No, I don't. Honestly, Hamza, I swear on Minton's life, I don't. I think it's tight. I think it's tighter because I think, again, adaptability wise, Alonso miles clear of Vettel, but in terms of prime, that Seb Prime he was unbeatable in his prime. Like that 9 race wins in a row or whatever it was. He was so good, and you can't ignore that. You can't ignore that. But again, he was in a car he was super comfortable in. The pre-hybrid regulation era. He was quality. And the car was great, don't get me wrong as well. But again, you look at where Webber was, and Webber was a very competent driver, but Webber wasn't winning all the time. He wasn't P2 all the time. But again, it's like, how much do you rate Webber? That's a whole nother conversation. That's why there's so many factors that come into it. I can only ever say I think. And anyone who claims any of these things claims that, oh, I know, or it's a fact, they're chatting out their ass. I'm sorry, all right? So there's too many factors that come into it to be able to say with absolute 100% certainty. Sorry. Which constructor do you think is the biggest sleeper for 2022? I mean, again, I've Ferrari for sure. I think that, I'd be honest, like, I think Aston Martin, how poorly they're doing this year. I do believe that Lawrence Stroll will turn that into a title winning team, because he not only is he a very, very successful businessman who knows how to create success in business, which ultimately F1 is, but also his son is in the car, so he's gonna be more invested and less likely to pull away, and he's putting all this money into the new facility. I think Aston Martin are gonna be, I do believe the hype. What can I say? I do believe the hype. Will Ricciardo ever feel fully comfortable in the Ferrari? Well, in the McLaren, sorry. Well, again, when Ricciardo joined Renault first, I felt like he did take a while to get used to that car. He took at least half a season before he started to work out the brakes on that Renault. And again, this is one I love Daniel. I love Daniel, but we've seen it twice now where he's come into a new team and not hit the ground running like we have seen other drivers do, which lends me to say that he's probably not the most adaptable driver on the grid. I think that's fair to say, given the evidence. I love Daniel, but I'm not going to ignore that and be like, oh, I love Daniel. He's the best. How do you make soft-boiled eggs? Why would you want to do that? Make poached eggs. It's a bit more challenging, but do it. Poached eggs are banging. What I do, right? On the hob, get the water up to boiling point, right? Hits boiling point. Get the bottom end of your your spoon thing that you're going to use to pick out the poached eggs. Give it a spin, right? Spin. Then pre-crack the eggs into, so you got 2, right? Pre-crack them into a little bowl, right? Spin. And then as soon as you stop spinning, turn the heat off, right? And then pour the eggs in. And then obviously the water will still be boiling, but that will make the eggs cook initially quite quickly to keep the poach of the egg together. You don't want like a watery poached egg. And then obviously if you turn the heat off, it won't keep bubbling. It will stop bubbling, and then that heat leave them for like four minutes. That with a bit of toast, a bit of avocado, maybe sausage as well if you want to treat yourself. Bacon is overrated. I mean, I have the Richmond vegan sausages. I have with mine. Very good. I'm not a vegan. I'm a veggie at home, but I do eat meat when I go out for dinner now. Sometimes, if I fancy it. Anyway, someone asked a question, I answered it. Thoughts on the second Alpha seat? Already said. I think it should be Piastri, but we'll see. Depends if the Andretti deal goes through. Because again, Colton Herta doesn't have enough super license points, but the FIA did say last year that they would relax the rules to 30 points because of the Rona. So I reckon that'd probably go in his favour. Right, okay. I'm actually going to finish now. So to everyone who did stay, I'm going to go get Minton for you. You're welcome. Hello, boy. Oh. Here he is. You've been sleeping, ain't you, mate? He's been a kit, bless him. You in focus? There we go. You're in focus now. It's annoying that the camera doesn't have a dog autofocus mode. It doesn't recognise his face as a face, which I think's a little bit sus from Canon. Not gonna lie. But here he is, Minton the miniature. You're very sleepy, aren't you, mate? Look at his little eyes. Oh, big yawn. Why do you stick your tongue out so much when you yawn, mate? Like, who sticks their tongue out when they yawn? Weirdo, mate. Absolute weirdo. Minton is a mood, indeed. I took him out for a walk just before we went live, actually. Oh, look at him. Look at him. Can you yawn again? No, you're just licking your lips? There you go. All right. Say bye to everyone. Say bye to your adoring fans. Go follow him at Minton the Miniature on Instagram, by the way. If you want to see more pictures of Minton. You can see pictures of him when he was a tiny, tiny little pup, and he was even cuter than this. Not as cute as he used to be. I'm joking. Minton second Alpha seat. Right, go on, lad. He loves sleeping on my jacket. I guess because it's got my odour on it, basically. Minton is 3. He just turned 3. On the 5th of this month, he turned 3. Right, okay. Cheers, everyone, for coming. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing a quali live stream. I'm out on Saturday seeing some friends, so I'm not going to be about to do the quali live stream, I'm afraid. But I will be back on Monday to do the post race. So yeah, sorry everyone, but real life friends, real life things, can't neglect them. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. I am doing backseat driver on Sunday with Veloce, so there is that. But yeah, we'll be getting the post race on Monday, so don't you worry. I'll probably do it at this kind of time, because then all the West Coast Americans can be there. But yeah, WTF1 do a race watch along. Ellie does one on Twitch. I think Dirk Chocolate does one on Twitch as well. So there's plenty of places where you can watch quali watch along. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Appreciate you all. Thank you to everyone who kindly, generously gave in the super chat as well. You're far too good to me. Thank you to everyone who's watched my video from yesterday as well. That's doing really well. If you haven't watched it already, then go watch it. All right. We talk all about the final 6 races of this F1 season, who I think, and also some other people think, is going to win all the final 6 races, and then who's going to come out on top at the end. But yeah, cheers everyone. Have a good evening or day, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you soon. Ciao, adios, goodbye, done.